Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Cole. Um, it's Sunday evening, December 8th, and this will be the Week 8 message for Political Science 1013, Fall 2024, the second 8-week term. All right, everybody. This may be my last message. I may get a short message out just before the final exam. But more than likely, this may be the last message. I just sent out an email, everybody. We're looking for the final exam at Units 7 and 8 on the Supreme Court and Congress. My email mentions I really can't completely revise my class notes right for the moment. A couple of things changed as a result of the election. For one thing, those of you from Colorado, I don't know if I have any Colorado students or not. For eastern Colorado, including Lamar and the other areas in Colorado from which we do get most of our Colorado students, your representative in the House is now going to be Representative Lauren Boebert. That's really the only change. If you go through those slides at the beginning of the class notes where I talk about the senators and representatives from Oklahoma and surrounding states, that's really the only change. Representative Boebert representing that district from eastern Colorado in the House now. Also, Senator Mitch McConnell has resigned, and Senator John Thune will now be the Republican leader in the Senate, and the Republicans will be in the majority, so he will be the Senate Majority Leader. I mentioned your class notes portray the 118th Congress, which has got about another month to run. Okay, so Thune will become the Senate Majority Leader, beginning with the 119th Congress, which will be sworn in along about January 3rd. So those changes are all discussed in the email that I sent to you. Last time we had talked about the Unit 7 class notes, and we had begun on the class notes for Unit 8, and we had gotten about halfway through. I had talked about members' re-election campaigns and what they do to maintain and perpetuate themselves in office. Now, there's a little bit of break in the class notes when we turn to how Congress works within the halls of Congress in Washington, D.C. The first thing you will see when you get to that part of the class notes will be a big photo of Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and apparently he will continue to serve as Speaker of the House. Then as you click through, you'll see the other leadership positions, and the one change will be that McConnell no longer will be Senate Republican leader. It will be John Thune, and the Republican whip will be Senator Barrasso of Wyoming. That's really the only change there. Now we go on to talk about the procedure by which a bill becomes law in Congress and the role of the committees, especially the standing committees. Basically, a bill is introduced in either chamber, and it will be assigned to a subcommittee, and then after subcommittee work is done, it will go to the full committee, of which that subcommittee is a part. Then the full committee will act on it and send it on to the floor of the House or Senate, with in the House the additional step of the House Rules Committee, which must pass a rule to govern debate and amendments on every bill that goes to the floor of the House. Now, the class notes mention that this regular order often has been bypassed in the last few years, and many members would prefer that they rely more on so-called regular order. The reason for that is the stark division, what we call polarization in Congress, and inability very often to come to agreement across party lines, which means that regular order often is bypassed. But for routine business, regular order still holds, and the committees and subcommittees still do their work. We also mention the tradition of the filibuster in the Senate, according to which any senator can bring the business of the Senate to a halt by occupying the floor and speaking without yielding. It takes 60 votes to break a filibuster, which means, practically speaking, most of the time, it takes 60 votes rather than 51 to pass a bill in the Senate. We discuss also the budget process, which is a little bit of an exception. It's a bill like any other, but it is essential that it be passed. It has been held up very often in recent times and passed several months late, which means that before the budget is passed, a series of continuing resolutions must be passed to keep the government running, very often simply continuing the level of funding in the previous budget. Very often we will be several months past the beginning of the fiscal year in October before we get the budget passed. And that again is a reflection of what some people see as the dysfunction that has taken hold in Congress over the past few years. Now, the class notes mentioned the procedure in Congress known as reconciliation, which is designed to prevent the budget from being filibustered. Okay. If the Senate parliamentarian rules that a measure is a reconciliation measure, it cannot be filibustered, and that's to further the chances of getting the budget passed on time, or as fast as possible if it cannot be passed on time. You might look at what we have to say about the British statesman Edmund Burke and what he said about the role of the legislator as trustee as opposed to delegate. Edmund Burke much preferred that the legislator act as a trustee, and we have a slide and some class notes that discuss that. We also have some notes at the very end of Unit 8, trying to bring the course as a whole to a close. We go through the election campaign of 2024, but when we were doing those notes, we did not have the election results, so we stopped short of the results of the election in November 2024, which of course everybody knows. All right, so everybody, all we have remaining is the term papers for those of you who've chosen to do one, and I've talked to a few people about this. The due date is Thursday the 12th. The exam will be open for 48 hours, the 13th and 14th, Friday and Saturday. Based on the Unit 7 and 8 class notes, plus 4 things we've asked you to look at online, 2 about the Supreme Court and 2 about Congress. 50 items, true, false, and multiple choice, as in the past. Okay. That then is about it, except for any late work or late exams that people need to take. Those who are missing an exam I've tried to contact me and I can open those exams if you'd like to make them up. Otherwise, the term papers are due on the 12th, the exam is the 13th and 14th, grades are due Monday the 16th. So, happy holidays to all. I hope it's been a beneficial experience to you. Take it easy, study hard. I hope everyone will do well on the exam and on the term paper for those who are submitting one. Thanks a lot. Contact me with any questions, problems, or issues through the course website or at david.cole@opsu.com.